Hello everyone. It is time for our Facebook Live. Sorry I had to delay it a little bit. My nail lady texted me this morning after I'd already posted about it and said, could I come today at 1:30 instead of tomorrow? And I thought, well, I should still be okay, but she was running a little behind, so I got home about 10 after 3. So sorry I had to push us back a little bit, but hopefully you will still find me. I'm going to share this over to my page in case somebody is looking for it there. Hey, buddy. Let me do that. We are playing with Perfectly Pears. Oh, and there's a die set too. Let me put something underneath of it so it's maybe not as glary while I'm getting this shared. All right. I had a class on this just this week on Monday night. We did 4 cards with this, and I'll show you those at the end of the video. I cannot talk and type at the same time. All right, almost there. Okay, let me get back where I was. Okay, we're ready to roll. So as I said, we made 4 cards with this bundle suite Monday night. So I'll show you those at the end, but I wanted to show you, so my friend Kay has a technique club that I go to every month, and we made some cards in that, and this is one of those cards, but I'm going to do a couple of different things. So this card we made, and we just die cut the pear out of the designer series paper. So this paper is, as usual for Stampin' Up!, absolutely beautiful. But you can die cut. The dies will cut out these pears, the double pears, the leaves, and the flowers. But such rich colors on this. I think that's my favorite. With that deep secret sea background. And then the other side is more just generic. This is a great one. You can just cut it apart and stamp a sentiment, add some embellishments, and you've got a card. Pretty easy. There's another one of that. Make sure we get through everything. So beautiful paper. So if you want to do it quick and easy, can never get that back in there, then you can just die cut. But you can also stamp the pear. It's got an outline and an inside stamp. Or you can color with blends. So I'm going to show you both of those. We're going to make 2 cards. So they'll be like this card, but one will be stamped and one will be colored with blends. So let's do that first. All right, I don't want to lose my little sentiment pieces. I'm going to put them over here. So let's do our stamping, and I am going to grab my Stampin' Pierce mat. That always helps when you are stamping a solid image. That is a photopolymer stamp, these clear stamps. But it also helps if you're stamping on something like this, you can see the edges of it easier. So this is Darling Duckling. And I'm also going to grab Old Olive. We're just going to work on our pear here for a minute. Okay. So we're going to ink the whole pear up in Darling Duckling. And then we're going to take a sponge dauber and add some Old Olive to it. And then you can always huff on it. And that just kind of re-moistens the ink. And then you have a nice two-toned pear. All right, and then I'm going to show you a little trick for these leaves too. We did this in class. So I'm going to ink up the filler for the leaves. But before I stamp it, I didn't want my stem to be green. I wanted my stem to be pecan pie. So I'm just going to take my pecan pie marker and just color. And it has to be the Stampin' Right marker. You cannot use a blend for this. And now we will have, it's always a challenge lining up when I'm on camera, green leaves, but a brown stem. All right. One more thing to do to our pear. We'll pull in the pecan pie. And I got that green a little darker than I did last time, so I'm not going to stamp off my dots. These are just some little splatters or speckles. So I'm just going to put a few on the side of the pear. All right, so there is our stamped pear. Let's put him together real quick. And the stem comes out of this little divot right here. So I just take my liquid glue and put a small bit on the end. And just put them right there. Okay. Set that aside. Now my other pear, again, I'm going to grab my sentiment piece so I don't lose it. Hopefully I can grab it. My other pear I'm going to color with blends. So I'm using the same colors. I have my Darling Duckling, both the light and the dark. And I have my Old Olive, light and dark. And then I have my light pecan pie. So I'm going to start with my light Darling Duckling. And I'm going to color the whole pear with the light. I think this is a great pear color because it almost, to me, it almost has a little bit of a greenish cast to it. I'm just going to color the whole thing. This is where this brush tip comes in handy. So just color the whole thing in. And then take your dark and you're going to add some shadow. I'm just doing it in the same spot as the stamp. Add it. Whoops. You can take that and blend that a little bit. So just kind of blend it in. And then I'm going to take the light Old Olive. And again, just add some more shadow down here. And take my light Darling Duckling and kind of blend that in too. So now we have, like in our stamped one, we have two-tone, but it's a richer color with those blends than with the stamped. And then we're going to color our leaves. So I took the dark Old Olive and just kind of made a line in the center of the leaf. And then my light Old Olive and just colored in that leaf. Whoops. All right, then we'll take our light pecan pie in the small end and color our stem here. So again, we're just mimicking the colors that we used on the stamp, but we're using our blends. All right, I'm not quite done with this one. So, whoops. So there's the difference in our leaves with stamping and coloring. But now I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to set my leaves aside for a second. I'm going to take my light pecan pie and I'm going to flick some specks on this. So it's not going to be in a controlled area like our stamping was. Let's glue this on and then we can compare the whole thing. And you do want to be sure that you have something protecting your table or your surface when you're doing blends, because as you can see, they do bleed through. Oh, I kind of forgot to do my whole introduction to Facebook Live in case it's your first time finding it. So almost every week, I had to take last week off. We were dog sitting for our son. I come to you, we make something fun, and then the next time I give it away. So 2 weeks ago, we made this beautiful sunflower card with the embossing folder, which is not available right now, but it will be back. And so at the end, I'll tell you who won that. And then next week, I'm actually going to draw two since I'm making 2 different cards. So 2 people will win next week. So here are our pears. So we have the stamped one and the colored one. And then this is the designer series paper one. So they all look different, all pretty in their own way. So it's just whatever you enjoy, that's the way you can do it. If you're in a hurry, just cut it out of the designer series paper. That's the easiest. All right, I'm going to pull this. I don't really need a Stampin' Pierce mat for these little sentiments. It just makes it easier to see where the edge of the... So this little label die is also in this suite. I really didn't show you all the dies, did I? There's some fun ones. So I used these 2 to cut out the pear and the leaves. This cuts out the double pear. This cuts out the stamped flowers. Then you have this like little crosshatch one, some flowers, some leaves, some more flowers, and then 2 little label dies. So it's really a nice die set. And I'll show you, I did use that little crosshatch one on one of the cards that we had in class. So I'll show you that at the end. All right, let's stamp. This is Secret C. So we'll stamp 2 little sentiments. There we go. This is one of our new in colors. And that's what that background is of that one designer series paper. Oops, sorry, I just bumped you. And that's also what this frame is. This frame is from the Gallery in Bloom, one of those die sets. I can't remember the exact name of that die set, but it comes with a frame die that cuts out a large one and a small one at the same time. So I had used these and made thank you cards from the class. So I had these big ones left over, and I thought, well, we'll just copy this card and use those big frames. All right, so now we are ready to start building everything. Again, I'm going to put those over there so we don't lose them. And I also forgot to mention there will be on my blog after this dimensions for all the pieces, so you don't have to try and remember them. Hang on, I'm writing this down before I glue it together so I know what to put on there for you. Okay. So I have a piece of the designer series paper and then one of the larger frames. And so I'm going to turn, there is a wrong and a right side because you can see there's kind of mitered corners. So I'm going to turn the frame over and take my liquid glue and put just a little line of it all the way around that inside edge of the frame. Now you could put your designer series paper down first and then glue this on top, and that would work just fine. we'll do that on the next one. And then just lay this down, and I'm going to try and make sure it's kind of even and straight. It doesn't have, you know, you would be able to tell if it was really crooked. All right, so let's do the other one the other way so you can see. And this is a petal pink card base. So if you don't want to try and glue that, then you can adhere your, oh dear, I lost the top to this down in the shelves. I need to put something on the other side of this table so they don't go falling into these wire shelves I have. So you can just put this down on your paper. Again, make sure you're putting your adhesive on the back side of this. And I am going to use my liquid glue again just because I don't want that tape to get outside the lines of the frame. So if you find this easier, feel free to do it this way. Then you just lay this down. And it's not going to have an equal, the frame is kind of a different size, so it's not going to be equal all the way around. So I just try and make sure the left and right are pretty equal in the top and bottom. All right, now we are ready for our pears. These are going to go up on dimensionals. And I'm down to the bottom of this, or the end of this dimensional sheet. I'm not sure. I think I'll put little ones on that, on the leaves. We'll put mini dimensionals on the leaves. All right. Let's put these on our card. Oh, come on. There we go. And it's going to go off to the right. Oh, we need to put this on our card base, don't we? I'm going to have to go hunting up my lid after this video is over. All right. And then add the pear to this one. Get off of there. So you'll have to tell me at the end which one you like best. All right, and then there's beautiful ribbon that goes with this suite. It is mossy meadow and gold. And it's on the other side, it's more gold. It's just beautiful. And so I've tied one bow, but I'm going to tie another. When I'm tying a bow like this, I like to just leave it on the spool, and then I won't waste as much. And for some reason, for me, it's easier to do that. All right. Grab my ribbon scissors. And we'll put these on with glue dots. Now, in the Technique Club, we were learning to tie different bows. So this is a double bow. But I would have to go watch the video again because we only did it like a couple of times. So I didn't get it down to where I can just do it without watching that video again. So that's why we're just doing a single bow today. And this guy. All right, and then the last thing is there are some embellishments that go with this suite. They are called low profile sparkle dots, and there's some darling duckling ones, and those will look great on this frame, on this dark frame. So that's what we're going to do. I need to get a new end for my take your pick tool. It's running out of putty. All right, and then let's get some small ones. And then you always want to have, whoops, excuse me, an odd number. That is a design thing that's supposed to make it more pleasing to the eye. So we'll add a third one there. Okay, that is it. So here's the two we made today. This one with the blends, this one with the stamps. And then this is the one we made in class that used the designer series paper. So you'll have to tell me which pair is your favorite. I think they all look nice, they just look different. Okay, so I will give these two away next week. And let me show you. So let me show you first. These are the cards we made in my class on Monday. So this one was stamping. This was just pretty much the designer series paper and then a little bit of a floral stamp there. This is just die cutting images from the designer series paper. And then this one uses one of the floral set dies and that little crosshatch die. So those are the ones we made in class on Monday. And then in Kay's class, we made this one, which is what I copied my thank you from. I just changed it to thank you. And then we made this one too. So a lot of beautiful cards with this suite. This paper is just amazing. Okay. All right. Oh, I have to tell you who won. I think I buried it. Here it is. So the winner of this card from 2 weeks ago is Betty. So Betty, you like the stamped one? Yeah, that one looks nice, I think. Yeah. So Betty, I will get this to you. All right, that is it for today, and I will see you next week, hopefully back at 3 o'clock as normal for another Facebook Live. And then on my blog, you will find the measurements to these shortly. All right, thank you. Bye.